Hi, this is Alessio, Rastani, leading trader. Hope you're well, and welcome to this fresh update on Bitcoin. In this video, we're going to talk about what the important significance of this particular pattern we're seeing here on Bitcoin is, and what does that mean. Before we do that, though, I just want to do a quick recap because I think this will really help. So take a look over here. In the previous Bitcoin video that I posted, here's what I said. That was the video that I labeled here called Bitcoin is stuck in a kill zone. Now what? Now, in that video, what I said was that as long as Bitcoin can hold itself above 9,200, there's a good chance that this pattern, this drop in Bitcoin prices, is only a correction. In other words, a corrective wave, not an impulse wave. Now, we'll go into the discussion of Bitcoin impulsive waves and corrective waves in a few moments, which is quite important. But all I was looking for right now is a correction. So let me show you. And that is important because if this is only a correction, which, by the way, most corrections after a huge move, so after a huge market move like that blue arrow shows, usually we see a small drop, a tight small drop onto the 21 average. That's the blue line you see on the chart, on that drawing there. And then what I said was this should then be followed by a new impulse wave higher. In this case, a wave 3 following a wave 2. In other words, quickly label this wave 1, wave 2, and then followed by a probable wave 3. And as you can see right now, Bitcoin has done exactly that. So as you can see, this is the impulse wave that I talked about. And again, an impulse wave is a deliberate, powerful move with momentum, which, by the way, followed the February 6th lows. That were the lows we initiated our long entry. In other words, buying Bitcoin at these levels to go long. And this was the correction that we were expecting. Okay, we fully expected this correction down to the very least, I said, the 21 moving average, that blue line you see there. And what I was waiting for, all I was waiting for, and I was keeping a close eye on Bitcoin prices here to see if it could finally edge itself, gather strength, and go above that 21 average, which it did, by the way, as you can see on that green bar. Notice how it managed to curl around and finally get itself above the 21 average, the blue line you see there. And that gave us the first initial clue that this correction, this corrective move you see here, let me just get a different color, that this correction here is likely complete. In other words, what we're probably seeing here on this chart is wave 1, likely wave 2 correction, and now this could be the start of our brand new wave 3. And I want to say a probable wave 3 because it's not confirmed just yet. And by the way, as you can see here, our own trading algorithm took a trade on Bitcoin. In fact, it also added to that trade on Bitcoin, as you'll see here as well. So we're just over 3,000 in gains. Not bad so far. So let's just quickly recap again, because it's important to appreciate the difference between an impulse wave and a corrective wave. And something I did not mention in the previous video was this. You see, the corrective waves, and these are wave 2 and wave 4, and also wave B, but we won't go into that for a moment. But these corrective waves are usually formed of 3 sections. 3 sections, okay? And these are called ABC, all right? ABC corrective waves. I'll show you an example of that on Bitcoin in just a few moments. But here's what's important to appreciate. After the impulse wave, again, a deliberate, powerful wave, the wave 1. And I believe that's what's happening on Bitcoin right now. We had that powerful move up on Bitcoin after the February 6 lows, wave 1. So we're seeing now the correction. I think the correction is likely complete. But again, we'll talk about that in a few moments. And then this should then be followed by a powerful wave 3. So that's why it's important to appreciate why we need to distinguish between corrective and impulse wave. Let me just quickly show you this. Take a look at what happened in Bitcoin after it dropped, after December. So this is the December drop. This is an impulse wave. An impulse wave, how do we know that? It's powerful, it's deliberate, with momentum. Then, notice what happened next. This was followed by 3 waves. In other words, 3 smaller waves, the ABC waves. A, B, C. Okay? Just label that. A, B, C. Okay? This is the corrective wave. Okay? Followed by what? Followed by the impulse wave. There it is. A big, deliberate, major move down to the 100 moving average. Look what happened after that. A, B, C. This is the corrective wave. Look what happened afterwards. Now again, what are we expecting after the corrective wave? Another impulse wave. Look what happened here. Boom. impulse wave. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, so does that mean this is a correction too? Very probably not. I actually do not think this is a corrective wave. In fact, even by looking at it, by the structure, and by the way this is moved deliberately higher, no, I believe this is an impulse wave formed of 5 smaller sections, and this therefore means this has to be the corrective wave following the impulse, which means what? Which means when you actually break it down in a nutshell, it means that, let me just draw this one more time, impulse followed by correction. And remember, this correction itself is composed of 3 smaller waves on a lower time frame. And therefore, this is likely the beginning of an impulse wave. And if this is correct, if this is the beginning of an impulse wave, let's say the wave 3, this should then take us above the previous highs and continue moving in a nice momentum move higher above the 12,000 level. Now, remember, what we always have to do as good traders and as good analysts, we always have to put our theory to the test. So far, that is the theory. But how do we prove it? How do we test it? Well, if this theory is correct, if this is wave 1, if this is wave 2, the correction, and if this is the beginning of wave 3, therefore, as I'm sure you probably appreciate and understand, therefore, this wave 3 has to take out the previous highs. The previous highs near 11,750, or let's just say 12,000. We need to move above 11,750 to be proven correct that this is the wave 3. Okay? If it doesn't, and here's the thing, you're probably wondering, well, what if it doesn't do that? So, if this move fails to gather much traction, if it fails to gather much more momentum, and if it fails to move above this previous high, okay? In other words, if it starts to roll over and move lower, then what? Then where are we heading? Then, very likely, this correction is not over. So that means this was our wave A, B, and C. So in other words, this correction has still got more downside. Now, if that's the case, so what I mean by that is if Bitcoin rolls over and takes out this previous low, the lows that formed near 9,300, then very likely you should be expecting a move that looks something like this. That could take us down to 8,700 to 8,200. All right. If you're wondering why those levels, well, watch the previous video. Bottom line is, I personally think that my own personal point of view is, look, as long as we're above these lows, as long as we're above the 9,300 lows, as long as we're holding above the 21 EMA, there's still a good chance this momentum could continue on Bitcoin and push it above the 11,750, 12,000 levels. But again, let's see what Bitcoin does. Let's see how it reacts in the next few days, and we'll find out pretty soon. And by the way, before I finish this video, I just want to quickly say this. A few days ago, on February 26, I mentioned to our premium members on LeadingTrader that there was a nice trade setup, a high probability trade setup on Bitcoin. And in fact, what I said was that if Bitcoin can close above 10,150, that would give us a buying opportunity. In fact, you can see that is what I wrote in my email to our members. I said that aggressive traders can use a close above 10,150 as a long trade setup. So that means, by the way, our premium members who took this trade are sitting now on a nice profit, close to 700 to 800 points profit here on Bitcoin. And that's one of the things I like to do in my premium membership. I like to, if I see a trade setup or a trade idea, I like to send an email to our members and mention setups like this to our premium members. And by the way, if you're not a LeadingTrader Premium member, you can try it out. The link is right there in the description box in this video, or just go to leadingtrader.com/member2018. That link will be there for a while and it'll expire as well. All right, guys, thanks very much indeed. And if this video has helped, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to our videos for future video updates as well. Thanks very much and bye for now.